This
2020.
conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, I forgot that one. Okay, good evening. I'm Steve Knight, Chair of the Rhome Planning and Zoning Commission. It is 6:03 on Monday, July 6th, 2020. I will call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Rhome Planning and Zoning Commission to order. This meeting is being conducted via telephone conference per the governor's office. I will now call roll to establish a quorum. As I call your name out, just let me know that you're here by name. Commissioner Ashley Majors.
Here.
Commissioner Christy Narron.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas Cannon.
Here.
Commissioner Roland Kuhlman.
Here.
Commissioner Robert Coleman.
Robert Coleman's here via audio only at this time.
Okay, welcome. And alternate Commissioner Joanne Wilson.
I'm here with Ashley.
Thank you very much. We do have a quorum. The alternates are more than welcome to join in on the conversation, but if we make any motions, we'll keep it to the sitting members. With that, we'll move on to our regular agenda, old business item A. Discussion and any necessary action regarding the minutes of June 8th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission special session meeting.
Steve, I think we need to go over public presentations and input.
I did jump ahead.
One more.
Excuse me. Before I do that, though, I do want to read a statement here. So bear with me. I'm a little out of order here. As chair of this commission, I would like to take a minute to thank one of our commissioners for whom this is his last meeting. Mr. Roland Kuhlman has decided not to reapply for his seat in this commission for his own reasons. I personally want to thank Mr. Kuhlman for being a part of this Planning and Zoning Commission since becoming an alternate back in June of 2017, I believe. Quickly, he became a seated commissioner and continued to be a valuable and well-spoken member whose thoughts and input have meant a lot to the decisions we have made concerning items brought before us. We all know that being on this commission can be both trying and fulfilling at the same time, and having Mr. Kuhlman's input has been invaluable to say the least. Thank you, Roland, and best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I will ask our city secretary, Shannon Montgomery, if we have any public presentations and input. Get myself back on track.
No, sir, we did not receive any.
Thank you, Shannon. Now with that, I will move on to our regular agenda, old business. Item A, discussion and any necessary action regarding the minutes of June 8th, 2020 Planning and Zoning Commission regular session meeting. Anybody have any thoughts on our last set of minutes? Has everybody had a chance to look them over?
Everything looks good to me. I recommend we approve.
We have a recommendation to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, I'll run down the roll call for your vote if you'll just state your name and your vote. Ashley Majors?
Aye. Ashley Majors. Aye.
Christy Narron?
Aye, Christy Narron.
Thomas Cannon?
Thomas Cannon, aye.
Roland Kuhlman?
Roland Kuhlman, aye.
Motion passes. Okay. With that, we are going to this evening combine the next two items on the regular agenda, new business, B and C. Discussion and any necessary action considering a recommendation to council regarding renaming the Old Town Rhome Overlay District to Rhome Downtown District in accordance with the Rhome Comprehensive Master Plan adopted by council. Item C, discussion and any necessary action regarding a recommendation to council regarding proposed boundary of Old Town Rhome Overlay / Downtown District. With that, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our city administrator, Ms. Cynthia Northrup, that can provide us with some research and a PowerPoint that she's been working on. Cynthia?
Hi, thank you for that, Steve. If you would bear with me, I thought I had it on the first page of this PowerPoint. You all have been discussing the making amendments to the zoning ordinance. Ashley, I know you had some suggestions for downtown. What I wanted to do was put together, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm hearing some background noise, so if you don't mind, if you could mute your mics. So what I've done, I've just put together a PowerPoint to review some of the items, and I'd like to just kind of go through that as, and if you have any questions as I'm going through, I've left your the videos up. Can you see my screen okay? Just raise your hand if you do have some comments regarding the various slides I'm going to run through for you. So when we're talking about, you know, the boundary that you guys have been talking about for a while, and we've kind of recently talked about renaming Old Town Rome Overlay District to a Rome Downtown District. I think one of the things that's really instructive is to go back to and review the comprehensive development plan that the council authorized a couple of years ago, and then it was completed, I believe, in 2019. So when you look at why would we want to do that? Well, I think it's really to try to really clearly communicate the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish with the Old Town Rome Overlay District. Consistency with the comprehensive development plan, that's one of the reasons why we do a comprehensive development plan, so we have that consistency in visioning and planning for the future of Rome. And I think too, as we kind of talked about the geographical boundaries of Old Town Rome, there's been two ideas. You have literally the historical boundaries of what Old Town Rome has been, and then the Old Town Rome Overlay District, and they're not necessarily synonymous. So we can avoid confusion by renaming it to the Downtown District. Were there questions on that? Okay. If you go back to the comprehensive development plan, and I know it was only done in 2019, so it wasn't that long ago, but it's really, of course, I'm a new person coming in. I've been here for what, 4 months now, going on 5, and that's something that I go to kind of see, okay, what does Rome want to be? And it's very holistic. So when you look at and review the comprehensive development district, it really kind of lays out those reasons why you would rename it Downtown District instead of Old Town Rome Overlay District, and really kind of lays out the rationale and the reasons why you would look at it, maybe a different boundary from what the historical boundaries of Old Town Rome have been. So it's more of a, when you start looking at zoning and design items of a downtown district, it's more targeted and manageable from a geographical perspective. It certainly promotes economic development within that area. And again, it just kind of avoids that confusion of what it actually is supposed to do and what it is. If you look at, review the comprehensive development plan district, this is the vision overall. And I know you guys can see that, but I'll just read it. To be safe, friendly community, proud of its attractive small town character, and actively seeking to serve people of all ages, backgrounds, and economic means with responsive, transparent governance. The City of Rome will offer a wide variety of quality commercial and retail services, as well as a variety of inviting parks, trails, and community gathering spaces, together making Rome a wonderful place to work and play. So obviously that's more holistic. than just downtown district, but you see the pieces of a downtown district even within that vision statement. And remember, just as also a reminder, the comprehensive development plan had as a part of it public engagement. So this incorporates the voices of the citizens of Rome. When you look at the development plan, it does specifically identify downtown district as a key project to accomplish. So the purpose there, and I keep going back and forth so I can see the whole PowerPoint. So has anybody had their hand up? No, okay. To develop a downtown core as a unique civic, commercial, and retail hub as a catalyst for new growth development, emphasizing character and pride of community. So they did a SWOT analysis within this comprehensive development plan, and I'm just reminding you guys of some of these components. The strengths of Rome overall is the main street, a small town feel. The opportunities are the historical fabric, valuable retail space, and development potential. Some of the weaknesses that were pointed out were disconnected neighborhoods and no community gathering spots and places. So some of the things that were identified as land use goals and strategies for those are denser housing in downtown, downtown appropriate retail. Some of the strategies, as I said, were sidewalks, traffic calming, preserve open spaces. The future land use goals that were identified was a retail and downtown mixed use. And those are things that we can talk about when we start looking at some of the meatier aspects of the Rhome Town Overlay District. As far as future land use goals as commercial goes, it's for downtown, it's service-oriented professional offices and other business that fits small town historical aspects of Rome. So other strategies and other projects that were listed and goals that were listed under economic development really kind of ties into the downtown district, developing the downtown district overall. And that is to make improvements to the overall look of downtown, to promote environment that allows business growth. And that's actually in the economic development goal 1.1. Implement a downtown district is an economic development goal 3.1. Preserve and enhance historical and natural character of Old Town Rome is an economic development goal of 3.2. So really, again, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the downtown district was really identified in the development plan. Some of the benefits, obviously economic development, it really, creating that downtown district incorporates various components of that comprehensive development plan, and we're going to go over some of those. It promotes and maintains that small town feel and the historical fabric of Old Town Rome, and it will create connectivity, walkability, and public gathering spots as well. It aligns with and accommodates various master plan components that, for instance, the master parks planning. It sets the stage for the development of the downtown district. And, you know, when you look at, and we'll get to the boundaries here in a second, but when you look at a downtown district, many times these downtown districts, they have different anchors. And for Rome, specific to Rome, I think some of the anchors, potential anchors could be, you know, one of the current projects that has been identified by the council, and that's the old school, preserving the old school. So you have that historical aspect of the old school and making that into a municipal complex. So that anchors that downtown district. You look at the development of various downtown districts, and that's what they do. They get those anchors going. In Louisville, for example, they relocated their municipal complex from the newer part of city of Louisville over to the old town Louisville to do just that. And there's other examples. I think there's a big resource we have in town, and that is the old flour mill. So that could be, if we started marketing that as an economic development project and trying to find an investor that would invest in that, and they could redesign that mill and make it retail shops or a restaurant or a combination thereof, and that could be another anchor for the downtown district overall. Other components then are like streetscapes, lighting, sidewalks, traffic calming strategies. And I'm going to show you some pictures here in a minute. Sorry, did somebody have a hand up? Did anybody? I'm not hearing.
I don't think so, Cynthia. I don't think anybody did.
Okay, I thought I heard something, but then I flipped your all screen on and I'm not seeing anybody raise a hand. So, so again, it aligns and accommodates the various components, the streetscape. Here are some examples. These are just keep in mind, these are concepts. These are examples. I'm not promoting or saying that this is exactly what we will see. That will be developed in concert with you all and council and that sort of thing. But these are some concepts of what it could entail. If you notice some of these pictures, you see the decorative sidewalks that are there. You see the landscaping. Sometimes these are abutted out into the street and they call them traffic calming. So along Main Street and maybe Second Street becomes a main corridor as well within the downtown area. You see a bike path there. The Master Parks Plan has already kind of identified something like this park, this bike path as something that could be done. And I'm going to show you some of their slides here in a minute. Street lighting, there's all kinds of examples. I know you guys have been out and about, so you have specific street lighting along the various streets. You see down in the corner, these are a little bit more probably contemporary, but there's a lot of different ideas. And of course, they've created on this big one, they've created a whole corridor where they've got landscaping with lighting, with the decorative lamp post lighting as well. So these are just some samples of what kind of spaces could be created within the downtown district. Here's some street signs. You'll see a lot of cities will have regular street signs, and then in a special district, whether it's a historical district, a downtown district, they will have special signs for that that will be decorative. Or you can see the one on the right has a tree there. It's a logo. So, and again, this is all just very conceptual, but so branding and marketing, if you do a downtown district, what are the anchors? So maybe you do an outline on the streets within the district, the new municipal complex, or you have an outline of the old flour mill on these street signs. So those are just some ideas of what could take place. This is a preliminary concept that the Master Parks Planning, excuse me, presented and is presenting to the Master Park Steering Committee. And it is basically making it more walkable, providing more paths, bike paths, walking trails throughout downtown, connecting some of the open space. Did somebody say something? Yes, Ashley.
Will we be able to get a copy of this?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the caller, the one that's on the last screen, is not muted on that one. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't see there is an additional caller. If y'all could just mute, I am hearing some things, and sometimes I think it's somebody's wanting to get my attention. So if you could mute your mic, unless you want to get my attention or the chair's attention. Yes, I definitely can make this PowerPoint available to everybody. So this is just an outline of where some of those paths could be. As most of you know, there are some potential opportunities for pocket parks that may come out of the master parks planning process that's ongoing right now. There's the property at Old Mill, and I don't know if you can see, can you guys see my cursor on the screen? Right here is the area that the city owns that could be made into a pocket park. And then this elm right here, that's another area that they're discussing as potential pocket parks for Old Town Rome. So they could, here's a concept of, and again, this is just a concept as well on the master parks planning. It's inside the Old Town Rome Overlay District as it sits right now, and this is at the Old Mill location. So there's all different kinds of things you could do. You could create spaces for people to sit. You could create play areas. You could create an outdoor auditorium for plays and concerts. Ashley?
Oh, I'll wait till you're finished. I was just going to say, where on Old Mill are they?
This is
something?
Yeah, let me, it's, you know where the antique mall is?
Yes.
Okay, so it's directly across from that. Well, I'm not sure what that side street is named. I can't see it on here. So it's on Old Mill and that side street. I'm not sure if that's First Street or Morris. At that.
It is First. There's
Okay.
I won't say anything.
Okay. Well, again, nothing is. These are concepts, but that is land that the city owns.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No, I had to tell you. I'll explain later because I know something for future growth that's going to developer for that. I haven't been on the parks and planning, but there's a future growth that is coming with a developer that's there. So that could be desirable, but I haven't been a part of the parks. But I'm interested in these the parks, the pocket parks. You know, I love parks for since I have a small child. So this is wonderful. Thank you for bringing this idea to Rome. Thank you, Cynthia.
Well, I didn't bring it, by the way. This is the UTA group.
Oh, wonderful. I love I forget their names, but I'm super excited. But
yeah, and this is on the website. So they had their public meeting. Gosh, was it last week? We did have it virtually, but it was open to the public. Okay, so those are just some ideas. Well, and actually, you can see from the side shade structures. Again, these are just some ideas that they've created. So now moving on to the boundaries. So this boundary here, this is the current boundary of the Old Town Rome Overlay District. I used a different map just so we can be consistent in all the various maps, but this was set by Ordinance 2004-03. And all I did is when the original map, Crown Point, if you can see my cursor, Crown Point was not on the original map. So I'm assuming Crown Point was developed after that, and this dotted line went straight. So technically, Crown Point is in the current boundaries, but it wasn't existing when the current boundary was set, if that makes sense. So I just went around it because obviously if it's not Old Town from the sense that it's old, right? It was just developed, I don't know, it must have been after 2004 because it wasn't on the map. So this is the current boundary, according to the ordinance 2004-03. When you all discussed this before the comprehensive development planning process began, this is what I'm calling the consensus map. So this is the boundary that you all had kind of talked about. So you did kind of shrink it down, you know, taking pecan, hickory, oak, and redbud out of the boundaries. And then we discussed this last month and we talked about, well, maybe we even want to shrink it down a little bit more, make it more manageable. And so if we were in person, I had blank maps and I was gonna, you know, put those out there as well. But what I did was, this is what I'm saying, the staff recommended boundary of the Old Town Rhome Overlay District, which, you know, will if it's something you all have agree on and it passes and goes through council, it could be named the Downtown District, right? So this line right here encompasses Old Mill. Basically, it's what is west of the railroad track. So it takes out from the consensus boundary, it takes out First and Virginia and Front Street here, and Third Street over here, and just leaves this side of the railroad track. It takes out some of the commercial and retail farther down, in the industrial where Wellflex is here to the south, Best Used Trucks, and really tries to make this more of a manageable, especially if you start thinking about street lighting and street signage and other items that of course would be a part of the zoning items as well. So this makes it more manageable as far as the boundaries go. So let me just pause there, make sure there's no hands up. So really what the next steps would be, because to redo the boundaries and rename the district as a downtown district instead of the Rhome Overlay District, for all the reasons that we just went over, it would really be a zoning, it would be an amendment to our zoning ordinance. So with that being the case, we will need to do a public hearing if the council, if P&Z is in agreement with renaming Old Town Rhome Overlay District to the Downtown District Overlay, and you agree with the boundary as staff has presented, then the next step would be conducting a public hearing at the next P&Z meeting on August 3rd, and that would be amending the zoning ordinance for those two items. At that point, it would go to the city council August 20th, those same two items, and assuming it passed at P&Z and city council, then the next step for the P&Z would be then begin to actually update zoning items, and those would be zoning and design, as you all have been discussing for many meetings before I even got here. And I know there's been one meeting where we've talked about, actually you brought in some suggested items to consider. And so I think that process really would be, could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Maybe we have a workshop so we have a little bit more time. I know, Steve, you have talked about maybe even having a joint workshop with the council so you get maybe a little bit more direction from the council as far as some of the things that they would like P&Z to consider as they are looking at updating the overlay district. So those are pretty much the next steps. Are there any questions there that I can answer? Joanne, is that your hand?
Yeah, Ashley's doing all the right things to get me on. The car wash shows at the top of the map to be in or not be in the overlay district.
Well, I believe it would be in because it's at this is BC Rhome. This top, that's BC Rhome.
Right. Okay, now go on down and go where it says East 2nd Street. Is that east or west?
Well, this is a Google map, so I know Google Map is not exactly right, but
I'm trying to visualize where that is. So you do not ever cross the railroad track. Is that kind
right?
of what
So this is the 2nd Street that kind of juts out to the east.
Before the railroad track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's old. If you went straight down right where that line almost splits car wash in two, that is actually Main Street.
Right.
So when it gets to 2nd Street, it's going to the east and it's going over. When it comes down, it's going right down, on the other side of Old Mill.
Old Mill.
It would encompass Old Mill.
Okay. That was just trying to get my head going the right direction.
Yeah.
That's all that I had.
Okay. Well, Steve, I'll turn it back over to you unless there's any other specific questions for me or any other slides you want me to go back to.
No, that was very, very informative. Thank you very much for that work you've put in on that. It does make a little more sense when we have some authoritative input on something that we maybe don't know how to do. My own thoughts are it does make more sense to shrink it even more. And I like the fact that it goes around behind a lot of properties that our map say didn't do. It was more or less going down streets. And I assume that the red line does, if it hits a street, it's kind of both sides of that street. And then pulling those pieces out of our comprehensive plan, that really helped kind of make sense out of the progression we need to take to move forward on this. It does mean government does move slow, but it has to move correctly, and that makes sense to me. So that's kind of my input on it. I'll open it up to anybody else's on what they think of Cynthia's presentation and any questions they might have.
I have a question. Okay, so Cynthia, just a question on your map. So are you suggesting that leaving out Morris at the bottom of the hill? So the couple of houses by the water tower?
Well, let me get my big map.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the big map, so.
Yeah, so it encompasses, if you see where here it's kind of curving.
Yes.
This right here is hard to see on this map, but I did make copies, so hopefully you guys all have the big map. But again, this is a Google map, and we know it says First Street, but that's actually Morris. So it encompasses all of Morris to the new homes that are there.
Okay, but because right at 287 on this map here, it shows West Morris. Are we going to take it all the way to the end, to West Morris, Are we going to leave? Are you suggesting no?
Wasn't, I mean, I didn't, that is something I took out. You guys can put it back in. Again, mine is a recommendation. It can be adjusted. If you guys, I mean, it certainly could be appropriate to put that back in, and that can be another, once those homes are built, they're, Public Works had in their budget to do upgrades to the road. But now that there's construction going on that road, it would be kind of silly to upgrade the road now and then have a bunch of heavy truck traffic come with all the deliveries that go on with building 6 houses. And so once that's done and the road is redone, then it could certainly, I could see where that could be another entrance point to Old Town, to the downtown district. But it's up to y'all. I mean, again, I don't know that you want to promote that as another thoroughfare accessibility over like Main Street and BC Rome or Second. But that,
I was just asking, just because I've more what curves around. So on that one. And I guess if we're talking about street signs as well. So
I'm sorry.
And I guess if we're talking about street signs,
Right.
And if it's close to the access road down there, I understand. So, but yes.
Well, it's certainly something to consider. Do you want that to be an entranceway into the downtown district in the future? If that's something that you're thinking, it's easily done to change this staff recommended boundary to just jut out to the service road and incorporate all of West Morris. You see what I'm saying?
As long as all of Morris is considered Old Town, then yes. If all of Morris, I recommend all of Morris needs to be considered Old Town. So I don't know if you could cut out just a portion of a block. So I recommend that all of West Morris needs to be included. Because there's only 2 houses that are in a piece of property that they're trying to sell that is after School Road. And there could be other land back there that I'm not aware of, but I'm just suggesting that all of Morris is included.
Okay.
Because we don't know what the future. So, but, and then we were talking about, Joanne she knows the history, back to where the White House of the old, of the White House of the Rhome settler. So,
But that's on the other side of the railroad track. So if we stay on one side of the railroad track, that becomes a non-issue.
And it doesn't mean you still couldn't highlight some of these areas and or have walking paths like, connecting Rhome Veterans Park and Rhome Family Park on the other side. Again, I think having a smaller district does help make it more manageable as we're talking about, some of the design aspects of what would be incorporated into a downtown district, as far as signage, lighting, paths, walking paths, sidewalks, those types of issues. And when I say more manageable, it's really trying to make the most of economic development, creating, that old adage, you build it and they will come. So if we create this environment where businesses want to locate, but part of that is an investment into some of those infrastructure things, in the future. So I think when you make it smaller, that's part of the economic aspect of more manageable is included in that concept of making it smaller, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense. You've got the new municipal complex possibly in the works. We've got that old mill that you're talking about. And then we've actually got a couple of little pieces of property in there. And then we do still have the old city building and that really core of the downtown area to build around. So we do
Oh
have
my
some
God.
anchor points in there that could be incorporated, and it does kind of keep it to a smaller area to control, or to not to control, but to develop.
Right?
Yes, I think that makes sense too.
Any thoughts from anybody else there?
Well, let me ask this then. So then is there consensus to then include the West Morris in the staff boundary map that include West Morris?
Well, what would be the advantage of including it over just leaving it not included?
Well, Ashley can speak to her rationale. I mean, I'm thinking if I'm understanding what she's going for, it's another entryway into the downtown district. You could put, a street sign out there that's going to be different from some of the other street signs. If we, we create these special street signs for downtown district, it would be a visual representation of that entry point into the downtown area. Kind of what you were going for, Ashley?
Well, yes, and it's already, I mean, it's a major thoroughfare at 5 o'clock. If you look out my back window, when I'm watching this, I can count, I mean, numerous cars that cut through there to go through School Road, to go to BC, to, I guess, to go to Boyd. I don't know, but it is a main thoroughfare. But I don't know if somebody's trying to talk. But it is an entrance point off of the access road. But I think it's an entrance in, and the way that that we have envisioned for the next 5 years for our downtown, I think it's another entrance point. I mean, it's right off of the access road.
Well, I'm certainly not against including it. I just didn't know what the biggest reason would be for doing it. But if it has to do with when Morris Street gets redone, of extending it all the way to the frontage road, I know that would give you 3 definite entrances off the highway to it. So yeah, it wouldn't be a problem for me.
This is Joanne. Probably whatever you do, if you make it an entranceway, which I think would be fine, coordination with the police department would be very important, because, let them tell you what problems they experience there all the time. And it's not going to be an entranceway to Old Town. It's going to be a shortcut to get to BC Rhome. And we need to probably work on rerouting something.
We'll talk about all of that later on. There's some other traffic issues, but I think on what we want to do on School Road and a little bit of development, especially because that's going to be our complex for the new municipal complex. So it's going to be, if we put a wayfinder there, and so we have from BC Rhome and then West Morris, we have 2 entrances to get to it.
I don't know if this is going to make sense to y'all or not, but to me, does it matter if we put in that Morris Road? Can we not leave the boundaries as is the way it is here on the map? And it's still going to be an entrance and an out point for people to come and go.
Well, one thing I would point out, and it's already been mentioned, but I guess I just, excuse me, highlight it, but I think in my perspective, from staff perspective, I think there's pros and cons, but you do need to, if you do include it, yes, you could have another entrance point into downtown, and make, you can do, just
But
kind
isn't
of
it
like.
already an entrance point?
Well, right, but you can do a marker or something like that. But if you do that, if the P&Z decides to do that, you have to recognize you are going to increase traffic on Rome. You're going to increase traffic on Morris. And do you want to do that? Do you want to promote or encourage traffic on that roadway, or do you want to try to funnel traffic to enter downtown district through BC Rome or Main Street?
And I would
North
much
or
rather
south?
downtown. They enter in through downtown. But that's just
The
my
main
opinion.
drag, right?
Yeah.
So with not all, I mean, we're saying it's a thoroughfare, which it is now, but also adding it into the, downtown district. It's not only, it's leaving out those two houses, the vacant lots. It's, I mean, in the downtown district, it's the development aspect. It's building setback. It's what the ordinances that we're trying to update is, what are the building setbacks? Is it 25 feet? Do we want to, build only 10 feet between the houses and, from each other, the lot sizes, building heights, my trash cans, Ronald. But it's, so it's adding those two houses, the land back there at the bottom of the hill from me. And the new builders, on those that are coming in, because like I said, they're all coming. And I've spoke to two people this weekend that are looking for lots, and they're wanting to build homes to flip them. So
That's going to make a difference, though.
do what?
Is that going to make a difference? I'm just asking, does that make a difference? Just because they're coming, does that make a difference in the way the boundary lines are?
Well, if that one, I mean, if that one block, if we're leaving out that one street, is what I'm saying is on that one, if those two houses are what down there, if we're leaving out West Morris, then on one side of the street, not Old Rome, the Overlay district on one side of the street, but the other side is, what if, why is that? Let's just add it in instead of not adding it in. So that's my point of view.
Wait, let me make sure I understood. Did you make a comment about BC Rome Road?
Yeah, like BC Rome.
Road, right?
How they cut through?
Well, no. Just to be clear, the boundary, this boundary line, the north boundary line.
I'm gonna push mute because I'm wobbling.
This north boundary line is recommended boundary. Can somebody mute their line, please? We're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you. This north boundary line is on the other side of BC Rome Road. So that property is actually zoned commercial on the north side of BC Rome, and on the south side is zoned retail. Just as a reminder about the zoning map. So this is not, just to be clear, I wasn't sure if you were talking about the boundary, this north boundary line. It does incorporate the land that's in the city limits on the north of BC Rome Road. I wasn't sure if you said something about that, Ashley.
No, I'm saying I talked to two different builders that are looking for lots, is what I was saying.
Okay.
That are looking for lots to build houses like some, like the 5 houses that are coming in behind me. But that's the reason why I was just saying, like, why should we leave out the, at the bottom of the hill down here, on one side of the street that, on West Morris that have the two homes, and then there's some land, and I'm not for certain, that are not going to be in the Old Town District, in which in the Old Town District is going to be, what are bullet points that I've written down is building setbacks, lot sizes, building heights. That is what is in this district that we are mapping out. So that's the reason why I want to add in Morris Street. So we can have, those houses in. Why not have in the houses on one side of the street and not the other side? Because who knows if a builder wants to, we already have the 5 houses on this side of the street that are going to be built. And what if he wants, what's not him, but not Josh, but what if a builder wants to build, on the other side, and he's like, wait, I can build, this, and this, and your ordinances say in an overlay district, that you can't have this, and this. Why is it? And we're going to, try to change our ordinances down the road, and we're going to be stuck. So that's the reason why I'm saying add it in.
And just to be clear, so everybody's clear, currently it is already in. Because if you go back, to the current map, it's already in there. So when we talk about doing the public hearing and sending out notices, if we added it back into the staff recommendation, if you will, we wouldn't be changing anything for the people that are there now, because it's already within the boundaries. Remember, this is the existing boundary, so the staff one recommendation just shrinks it down. So even if we added West Morris back into it, it's really not then changing anything for West Morris.
But it's not needed. It's not part of the concept we're going for. If you're going to go down West Morris, you need to go all the way around the loop and take in all that section back there where it's all wooded and stuff up to BC Rhome. It's one. No. It's. But if that's what y'all want, that's fine. But it's.
Well, it's really P&Z's, you guys need to, I think if you can come up with a consensus of what P&Z as as the group wants to recommend, that's up to you all. So everybody on P&Z has a say, and I'd like you to take a vote so we can kind of move forward with this public hearing on one boundary that, P&Z is as a group recommending. So,
Well, I just want to be clear with Ashley on her reasons for wanting it included, and I can't get a clear idea in my head. I'm not following the same train of thought, I guess, as to what the advantage is to include it in this. Is it to make sure that whatever kind of zoning we do within this overlay, which can be several kinds of zoning, I think, or a certain kind of zoning ordinance, she's wanting to include that Morris Street all the way out to the frontage road so that it's included in the same can.
Well, so for example, if you look at section 33A of Old Town Rome Overlay District, and you all have that in your binders, but I'm just going to read off some of the things that she was already referencing. So what it allows you all to do is to look at off-street parking. This is what is currently in the overlay district. So off-street parking is 2 off-street parking spaces shall be required for each resident at each location, which shall be constructed of 4-inch thick reinforced concrete to the property line. Number 2, rear yard setback requirement shall be a minimum of 15 feet. Number 3, front yard setback shall be 25 feet from the front property line, excluding decks, awnings, and carports. Number 4, side yard setback minimum shall be 5 feet, and on a corner lot, 15 feet towards the cornering streets. Number 5, setbacks to garage shall be a minimum of 25 feet. Number 6, rear yard will be fenced with a privacy fence, which shall be a minimum of 6 feet in height, or a chain link fence. So that's just that's some idea of what's currently in the overlay district of things that I think she's referring to that would apply for any development then that comes in on the north side of West Morris. Because keep in mind, even though this was implemented back in 2004, uses are grandfathered. So that, this is development going forward. This applies to development, going forward.
Joanne again. I think for continuity, take Morris all the way to the access road, because what I think Ashley's saying, builder X comes in and builder Y comes in. They do complete different things, and they mess up, if you will, if that's a good term, the overlay district, because it looks like they're part of it, but they're not.
Which is true, which Cynthia, thank you for reading what our current ordinance states. That is what my point is what the off-street parking, because we don't have gutters, we don't have, sidewalks, and, some of the homes here don't have driveways. So that's what, I'm trying to, get my point across, is what we can add in. And Ronald, thank you so much, is trying, to saying, let's add it in around the loop. That would help. So thank you.
Do I have any comment from Mr. Coleman?
Nope, I'm just enjoying the commentary.
Okay,
Learning.
and okay, I see it. Mr. Cannon?
No, I'm not. I don't think so at this time. That makes sense of it all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
going all the West Morris, take it all the way around the curve to BC Rhome.
Well, I think all we're wanting to do is carve out Morris just from where we cut it off out to the frontage road and either side of it. So just kind of a slice of pie covering Morris Street, since it does meet the frontage road and it is another access into the downtown area.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no.
we could have staff include that in our consensus and send that on forward then to perhaps hold our public hearings on. If you follow me, Cynthia, there. In other words, be sure we just kind of make a detour off that and include Morris out to the frontage road and then back.
Okay, so I think, and that's fine.
Go ahead,
Christy,
Cynthia.
was that you?
Yes, but go ahead. I apologize.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead.
That whole frontage road right there, is that considered commercial property? Is that zoned for commercial at all? That is on that frontage road? Any of that land?
I tell you, yeah, part of it is, let me look at real quick. Hold on a second.
But my thinking on that is, if that's all considered commercial, if adding in that rest of that Morris Road, is that going to change that?
No, it wouldn't change any of the zoning. Changing the boundary will not change any zoning.
Okay.
Hold on just 1 second. Okay. It is up into a certain point, yes, it's commercial. So, our map, we are getting better maps that are a little bit more definitive, but yes, what is along the frontage road? South, you know, BC Rome, and then the frontage road here is commercial.
Okay, so if you were to change that boundary line for it to come out to the access road, so that's not gonna affect anything if anybody did want to put anything there.
Well, it's certainly not going to change the zoning. The only thing that can change the zoning is the property owner coming in and applying for it, you know, to change it from commercial to something else. So the boundary doesn't have anything. What it does, though, it really determines where some of the must add to the overlay district might apply to that area. Whereas right now, anything, you know, from what I just read from what's current, for example, that's in the Rhome overlay district, would only apply now here inside these boundaries. Now, if we made the boundary, if I've heard we can take the boundary back to what was originally right here. See how it goes all the way out, you know, basically to the frontage road, and then takes in all of Morris. But then again, it also takes in all of, but you're guys saying just come in, take it around here, come up on Morris, and then follow what we have here, right? So basically it would look like this. It would be adding this to the staff boundary map. Is that what I'm hearing? I've heard that, or just add in Morris.
I'm thinking just add in Morris.
Just add in Morris, okay?
What Ash was after, I believe. Is that correct,
Yes.
Asher?
Yes, you should add in Morris, because if you took it around the back, you take in that one piece of property that's been for sale up on the top of the hill that the house used to be, that's up, that has the well sign that's up by Taco Casa, and that adds in the back of the municipal complex, old school. That's if you add in the back end. Sorry.
Right.
I'm trying to point on the computer screen. I'm like pointing on the computer screen like y'all can see me.
Shall I hold her hand and see if she can talk?
Sorry. Sorry. But yes, sorry. But yes,
right. Okay, so what I'm hearing is there right here, just adding in both in both sides of Morris.
Yes, ma'am.
Properties, and the properties then fronting abutting Morris on either side.
Yes.
Okay, would we have a consensus to that?
I'm in favor.
Let's just go down the road and we'll do that. Ashley, you're in favor. Christy?
Yes, sir.
Thomas?
Yes, sir.
I'm okay with the way it is. With this option 1 staff received, I'm okay with the way that layout is.
Without any changes to it?
Yes.
Okay. Second here. Mr. Cannon?
I'm okay with adding in the Morris.
Mr. Coolin?
I like the staff recommendation.
Well, for
I don't have a consensus yet. It's 2-2.
well, I really, myself personally, like the idea of just the map you drew up for, Cynthia. I've kind of driven that more off this frontage road, and it's really not a whole lot of street. I don't know
They build a Spanish.
really what the advantageous part of it would be, since I don't see how it fits into our vision statement in our plan as far as what we want in Old Town. If it's to control something, what happens there, I don't think that's the purpose of it. So I'm going to say let's go with your original map myself. So that gives us 3 yays and 3 nays and 2 yes.
I agree with you, Steve.
So if that's a consensus, Cynthia, then there it is.
Okay, and is there a consensus on renaming? And again, this is just semantics, but it's really, I think when we have a name, we can all gather around a name. Is there consensus on renaming the Old Town Rome Overlay District to the Downtown District Overlay?
Well, they're all chime in and say, yes, I do like the idea of renaming it because that does go more hand in hand with our comprehensive plan and the verbiage used in it.
Yes, and I agree.
I
But you're
agree.
changing-
Go
You're
ahead.
changing it. You're in the minutes or our discussion, and even on this slide, it's Rome Downtown District, not Downtown District Overlay.
Well, and yeah, I mean, let's be specific on whatever that's going to be. Rome Downtown District is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I'm hearing yes to Rome Downtown District?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So we're looking to change it from the Old Town Rome overlay boundary to just the Rome Downtown District. Is that correct,
Yeah.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's just do another roll call here. I'll start with Ashley.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on changing the name of the downtown overlay?
To Rome Downtown District.
Yes.
I'm not in favor for Rome Downtown District.
Okay. Christy?
I'm in favor for it.
Thank you. Mr. Cannon?
I'm in favor for it.
Mr. Kuhlman?
I'm in favor for it.
Okay, and me, Steve, I am in favor for it too. So there we have our consensus on the name change and the boundaries. Cynthia?
So the next steps, thank you for that. Then the next steps will then be on the August 3rd. We'll post a public hearing, and so we'll do the notifications. And this would be amending the zoning ordinance to change the boundaries as we've gotten consensus on, and to rename the Old Town Rome overlay to the Rome Downtown District.
Yes. That is our consensus.
And really, just to clarify and drive home the point, the whole rationale behind that, then it sets the stage for doing the meatier work that you guys have been talking about in the zoning and design elements of that district and what that looks like going forward.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. With that discussion closed, we'll move on to future agenda items. Anybody? With no future agenda items, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
This, as my last meeting, I recommend we adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll
I have a
second
second. I have something to say.
Excuse me, go ahead.
I just want to say, Ron, it was been a pleasure sitting with you. I will dearly miss you, and I wish you all the best. And please come and see us at any of the meetings and laugh with us. So, we will miss you. And thank you again for always sitting in with us.
Thank you.
Okay, I still have a motion on the table to adjourn. Do I get a second?
Adjourn. I
I'll
second.
second.
Do I have a second from Christie? I'll
Yes.
run down here one more time for our vote on it. Ashley,
Favor, aye. Sorry. Sorry, what made it?
if you just say your name and aye.
Ashley. Ashley
Christie?
Majors.
Christine, aye.
Mr. Cannon,
Tom Scannon, aye.
Mr. Coolman,
Roland, aye.
and Steve Knight, aye. Motion passes. It is 7:12 p.m. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, have a good evening.
Being able to serve on the
Thank
city.
you.
I put the time in this evening, didn't I, Shannon?
Good night.
Everybody have a good one.
Good night.